It's your friendly neighborhood soup lady, Caroline, right here. And I'm gonna show you a really fun soup that's based on a traditional Mexican sauce, kind of like a mole, which you've heard of. This one's called Pipian. So the soup kind of has a lot of ingredients in it, but that's because it has sort of two different sauces that happen. One, it starts with a kind of salsa that we have some tomatillos, and we have jalapeno, a whole bunch of scallions, and a whole bunch of cilantro, both the stems and the leaves. We have a couple cloves of garlic, and that's what goes into that first sort of salsa. And you just use the blender. You know how I love a blender. And you use the blender to do that, and then you set the blender aside because you're gonna use it again. Then the soup comes, you just like simmer that for a second, and then we have our veggies that go into it, which are nice pieces of carrot. And at the end, we have some like delicate squashes of our yellow squash and a zucchini. We also have radishes in it. We use the greens in the finishing sort of sauce, and the bulbs go into the soup. If you've never eaten a radish, then you haven't been following my soups for that long, because I love to use a radish in soup. It has green beans in them. And the second sort of sauce, which is the finishing, which like makes the broth of the soup, has a white sweet potato in it, but you're not gonna get that in the chunks of the soup. And an important starring ingredient are these pumpkin seeds, which I call for raw. And you actually toast them in the first step of the recipe. You could use roasted and just skip that step, but delightful. And the recipe uses an entire container of baby arugula. So it's like springtime in a pot. I can't wait to show you how it's done. So while this pan is heating up, this is that sort of salsa I was telling you about, that bunch of cilantro, the scallions, the garlic, the jalapenos, and some dried oregano and water. You just blend it all up, and it becomes this. And so to start, I have this hot pan. I'm gonna use avocado oil, a fair bit, because otherwise it's just like very delicate vegetables. It helps to give it the heft that this recipe really needs. And so then we just add this, and we're gonna cook it until it's just basically not raw tasting. And then you'll see I've divided the veggies up into two different groups. These are the ones that are like require longer cooking, and these are the shorter cooking ones. So these are the ones that get added after these have cooked. And then once these have cooked, I take the sweet potato out and I blend it with some of the other ingredients, like half of the arugula, the radish greens, and some of those seeds that we toasted. I know it seems like a little bit, there's a lot to do, but it's a really fast cooking recipe. So really the prep, the cooking is mostly, doing the various components of the recipe. And it actually is not hard to do at all. It's a little bit tricky to show and explain though. So I hope I'm doing okay. So now that this is nice and glossy, it smells so good, guys. It smells like a really rich salsa, I guess, but it makes more sense in this context than a salsa would. Anyway, so I'm gonna add my longer cooking veggies, which are these radishes. If they're large, I've halved them. I've got those 3 carrots that I've sliced into like 1/2-inch coins, and that sweet potato, which I've just cut into large pieces. Depends on your sweet potato, it could be quartered. And I'm just gonna add all these guys. And our water. And of course, some salt. Now it's time to just cover this, bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and cook until those veggies are tender, specifically the sweet potato, about 25 minutes. And then I'll show you the rest. So as you can see, it's been simmering for a little bit. The liquid has reduced down some. It smells so good. I wish you could be here. But while that was happening, I stole the sweet potato and I turned it into this. This is the creamy mixture that goes in at the end. It's half of those toasted seeds, half of the arugula, and those radish greens, and some water and salt and pepper. So I'm gonna stir this in now. And it really changes everything. I stir this in with, and the rest of the sort of quicker cooking vegetables that I was telling you about before, the green beans and those delicate squashes. There, here we go. And so what I'm gonna do now is return this to a boil, and I'm going to simmer it for about 5 to 10 minutes until those veggies are right where you want them, crisp, tender, or like a little bit beyond, whichever you prefer. And then we'll finish the soup up. Okay, so you can see that now the soup is nice and thick. All the veggies are right where I want them, all very tender in their various states. We've got this nice hot soup still. So what I have are that remaining like reserved half of those toasted seeds and a half of a reserved amount of that arugula. And this is when I add it. And then we season it with some lime juice. I'm gonna turn this off. You can just do it at the end of cooking. It'll wilt in the residual heat of the soup. Just kind of fold it in there however you can. And we've got those seeds. So beautiful. And this is a delicious one, like served over rice or some sliced avocado on top. You can't really do it wrong. Delightful. You can see why it's based on a sauce, huh? It's really good. It's already nice and bright from those tomatillos, and I can taste all of the flavors in there. Oh, it's so good. You would love this one. And it's just got a lot of different like textures, and I love this one so much. I know it seems like a little fussy because it's a lot of different steps, but really it's very easy, and you're just using your blender twice and you're doing a little bit of cooking in the middle. Very simple. And I am gonna season it with a little bit of lime juice. Stir that on in. Okay, now I'm gonna make myself a bowl. I love this one. That is so good. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you want to find this recipe for Spring Vegetable Pipian, it's in my seconds cookbook on page 100. Every week I do another soup recipe here on YouTube, so you can like and subscribe, or you can go to Instagram and follow me at Slurp Soup Club for fun and silly soup content. I hope to see you in both places, and I'll see you next week.